Okay, so this project is going to be sort of a festive project that you can do. All you really need is something to draw with and something to color with. I'm going to be using some materials that I have here, and this is going to be one of those projects that is actually going to be in the packet. So if you don't want to draw this freehand, you can just use the one in the packet. But I'm just going to kind of go through what the process is from start to finish. So I've got this blank piece of paper, and you should have a few pieces of blank paper in your packet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a shamrock, and this is just festive for St. Patrick's Day, but you don't have to do a shamrock if you don't want to. If you don't celebrate holidays or whatever it is, you can do it really any shape that you want. But I'm going to show you with a shamrock. So what I'm going to start with is just a stem, and you can just draw your own shamrock if you're choosing to. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're all different artists and we're all perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. But I'm going to just go ahead and start drawing this shamrock. And the shamrock is just basically 3 hearts with a stem at the bottom. So I'm going to draw these 3 hearts, and these 3 hearts don't have to be perfect. Because just like we are imperfect, so are shamrocks. Shamrocks aren't always the most perfect shapes themselves in real life. So that's okay if you mess up, or if you don't want to draw this, like I said before, you can just use the one that's in the packet. Now I've sketched this out, and that's all you need to do at home if that's what you're doing. But I'm going to take a marker, and I am going to outline this so that these lines are nice and bold. And the reason for that is because I'm going to photocopy this, and this is actually going to be the example that's in your packet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bold these lines out, and if you don't have a magic marker at home, or if you don't have a marker that you can bold out with, you can also use like a pen. A pen would work quite well with this project to bold out those lines. But once again, you don't have to bold out the lines if you're drawing this on your own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this shamrock into even smaller shapes, and I'm going to, inside those shapes, put different patterns in there, and you'll see that in a little while. But I'm going to break this, first of all, these hearts up into shapes. So I've got 3, maybe even, well, I got 4, maybe you can even call that 5 shapes if you want to get really detailed in this process. But I'm going to break these hearts up into even smaller shapes so that I can fill these shapes with different patterns. So I've broken these up into, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 if you want to be really technical shapes. I'm also going to break the outside up into shapes as well. So I'm going to go to the very edge, and if you're doing this at home, you can decide to make straight lines, you can make wavy lines, it's kind of up to you. But I'm going to break the outside up into shapes as well. And the next step is we're going to start filling the shapes with pattern. So you've got a choice here. You could decide, hey, I want to do the outside color and I want to do the inside black and white. So for that you could use a pencil for the black and white, or a pen if you've got a ballpoint pen at home. Or for the color part, you could do, markers. If you've got some really cool colored pens at home, you could do that. Crayons work. I used crayons for my finished piece here. But what you're going to do is you're going to choose, hey, do I want the inside of my shamrock black and white, or do I want the outside of my shamrock black and white? And whatever you choose to be black and white, the opposite is going to be color. So for example, if I chose the inside of my shamrock to be black and white, then I'm going to choose the outside of my shamrock to be color. And so if you decide you want the outside of your shamrock to be black and white, the inside of your shamrock is going to be with color. And what that's going to create is an art term called contrast. So you can see a really huge difference between these two types of things, such as color and not color. So if we want to take a look at this final project, this is one that's completed. You can see I decided inside the shape is going to be black and white, outside the shape is going to be in color. But what, as you can see, hopefully, is whatever you're doing, you're going to be doing it with pattern. And a pattern, as we've learned this year, is anything that repeats itself. So that could be letters, that could be numbers, lines, shapes, whatever you want to choose. And there will be a patterns and line sheet included in your packet if you decide to take one of those home. But you're going to choose different patterns for different shapes, and you're going to fill them with those patterns. Even outside with color, you're going to be choosing these patterns. You're not just going to be coloring nicely inside the lines of these shapes. You're going to actually be filling it with color. And you could even take it a step further if you want to take more time and actually even color in the different patterns, which actually comes out with a really cool effect if you want to take your time doing that. But the main idea is that you're not just coloring the shapes, you're filling them with pattern, and that's the project. So I hope you have fun, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. If you want to send me pictures through email, I'd love to see your work. Okay, enjoy.